On Ticker, this is Import Export with Lawrence Christophels.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to Import Export on Ticker. I'm your host, Lawrence Christophels. So many things happening with international trade, supply chain, global business normally, but then you overlay things like the coronavirus, which is having massive impacts right across the globe on manufacturing, on shipping, on trade lanes, even on consumer buying behaviour as well. So we're really going to focus on how we can help some SMEs and businesses who are involved with international trade today. But to kick off, you've seen her before on our show, but always a delight to have Alison Cusack from Cusack & Co. How are you, Alison?
I'm well. How are you, Lawrence?
Good. Alison, thanks for joining us. We talked about the impact of what coronavirus is having. Shipping is a major impact already, as we know, especially here in Australia, because we don't have that sort of volume. You know, there's rumours going around, or there's talk about carriers putting on some surcharges over and above what would normally happen. Is that opportunistic? Are they trying to gouge carriers, shippers with this situation at the moment? Or
I was really surprised when I heard about these reefer surcharges because I got alerted to my contacts saying, have you heard about the reefer surcharges into Shanghai? It's USD 1,000 per box. Yeah. And some other carriers are even going as high as $12.50 per box. Yeah. And especially as we know our Australian dollar is quite low on the exchange rate, that is a serious impact per container. Yeah. I was surprised because your freight, right? It's saying I can get your cargo from A to B and this is how much I'm going to charge you, and I've factored in all of my supply chain costs, right? Yeah. And you go, okay, that's fine, I'll take it or leave it. If the carriers are saying, right, we're having difficulty with plug availability in Shanghai, well, why would you quote? Yeah. If you don't have reefer plugs available in Shanghai, why are you quoting? And
what's the surcharge going to do? Free up more plugs?
Well, this is the thing, and this was the most troubling part, is that my contacts are saying to me, Al, I said, well, what are they basing it on? What are they saying the surcharge is going to do for you? And they said, they're telling us that it guarantees that your reefer gets plugged in at the other end. Yeah. And I'm, as a maritime lawyer, going, no, that's not okay, because your freight is saying, I will take your reefer container, I will plug it in at the yard, I'll plug it in on the ship, and I'll plug it in at the other end. Yeah. Your freight says, the shipping line will plug in their container.
So just top of mind, let's say an analogy I'm thinking of, just listening to you, Alison, if I book a flight ticket from Melbourne to Sydney, right? Yeah. And that cost me $200 one way. And then I say, look, to make sure you get there, you've got to pay another $300.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that essentially what you're sort of saying?
Well, it's kind of saying, look, we'll get you from Melbourne to Sydney. We might stop off in Brisbane because of weather. We might leave you in Brisbane. But if you pay us $1,000 on top of that, we'll make sure you get there. And so I just want to make it clear to all of our Australian exporters, reefer exporters, plugging your container in at all times is required under not only the Bill of Lading terms and conditions, under international conventions. That's part of your freight. Yeah.
And to me, I mean, I can relate to this firsthand. I used to ship 400 boxes a month of chilled and frozen beef from Australia to Japan when I was very young. And without those plugs, it's dead in the water. It's forget about it. The goods are gone.
But this is the thing, right? So if you're saying, look, we don't have plugs available, suspend.
Exactly.
I don't see it as any different from when there was an earthquake in Wellington, when Tianjin had the port explosion. If you can't provide the service, which includes plugging, why are you quoting? And if you are quoting and your supply chain costs internally have gone up, say if you're diverting to a port and you got a restow and then another restow, why isn't that part of your freight?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm all about education and empowerment and understanding your rights.
Yeah, and justice. Yeah.
And justice. Yeah. If it's all above board, great. But when there's a bit of, and it was interesting that all the surcharges came out all around the same time, all around the same price. Yeah. Is it really?
And that's why it's really important that we have you on the show like this to talk about these issues, because exporting is hard enough as it is. The margins on exports versus import, we know, are much lower than import.
And I don't see how. And I read about, CTAA put out their brief about, people delaying payments and things like that, and everyone's cash flow is problematic. And the last thing I want, last thing I want is a surcharge that may not be quite configured right by the shipping lines being applied. Yeah. Exporters not having the money and then lands on their cargo, which are already delayed.
Yeah.
You know, I
So-
want to make sure that the viewers and the exporters know that you can question things and make sure that it's all above board.
Yeah.
And if you want to check, you can always contact
I was
me.
going to say, so the best
Absolutely.
way for them to validate this, if they are getting these, these surcharges thrown at them, what's the best thing? They give you a call.
Give me a call. I probably need to see some paperwork
Yeah.
because obviously it depends if your freight's all in, if it's your freight rates are locked down, all of those things. As lawyers love to say, it depends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it does. You know, all my contact details are on my website,
Yeah.
cusackandco.com.au. Give me a ring. Happy to
Great.
take your calls.
Thanks so much. But before you go, I want to talk to you about the conference coming up as well.
Yes,
So-
very excited. So Worcester APAC is 1st of April to the 3rd of April at the Convention Centre. Very excited to say that AMSA has come on board as
Fantastic.
a major conference sponsor. I'm very excited.
Yep.
Additionally to that, Svitzer has come on board to sponsor our female seafarers panel,
Fantastic,
which
yep.
is going to be fantastic. Mirat have come on board to do a bit of a vessel tour and take us to their rooftop
Nice.
bar.
Yeah. Make sure you give me a ticket for that.
I will give you a ticket for that. And thanks to meeting Carmine on the show last time I was here, Crackle & Co have come on board as a
Great.
show bag sponsor.
Yeah, no, lovely.
So very excited. But we're always welcoming more sponsors.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to, please get in touch.
All right, fantastic. Well, definitely, thanks so much again, keeping us up to date. You are our legal go-to. So I know you got to rush off to another appointment now, but thanks for dropping in on today's show. Get along to the conference.
Yes.
Get in touch with Alison, cusackandco.com.au, and reach out. So thanks again, Alison. We'll
Thanks
touch
for
base
having
again
me.
very soon. All right, cheers.